The Toyota Tacoma is so freaking reliable, you don't need a new one. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. You know, I did a video recently talking about the availability of Toyota Tacomas getting worse, and I think that is going to happen, what with shortages and chip problems and labor problems and problems, who knows. But you know, the more I think about it, the Toyota Tacoma is so freaking reliable, you really don't need a new one. You know, I was kind of looking back at the Tacomas that I've had. I've had so many. I've had like 6 or 7 of them. And I was trying to remember, what problems have I ever had with the Toyota Tacoma? And I have to say, there's really, that I can think of, only one mechanical type problem that I've ever had, and maybe 2 or 3 other personal problems that I had with the Toyota Tacoma. So let's start off with the mechanical problem, because frankly, I find the personal problems to be way more interesting. The mechanical problem was the master cylinder. I believe it was in my 2018, if I'm not mistaken. There was a master cylinder recall. And if you don't know what a master cylinder is, it was the brake cylinder for the brakes, you know. But there was a recall on that because I believe it could leak. So proactively, fortunately, and Toyota's good about this, but proactively they issued a recall to go ahead and replace that master cylinder. So I did take mine in. It cost me nothing but time, of course, and they replaced it. No issues, no problems with that dealership. I was very happy with the experience. And by the way, that was done in Columbus, Ohio. So kudos to the Ohio dealerships for handling that well. That was the only mechanical problem that I can think of. I don't really know of anything else that went wrong. Now, there is one other recently that I know of that didn't affect me, and that is that seal around the third brake light in the back. Of course, I'm talking about the leak. All they did on that was put a bigger gasket on it, I guess. Again, it didn't affect me, so it wasn't really a problem that I had. But let's get to my personal problems. Well, not my personal problems, but my personal problems with the truck. My first Toyota Tacoma. And this probably set kind of a sour taste for me on Tacomas to begin with. I'm surprised I ever bought another one. But back in the day, I bought a Tacoma, and I've told this story before. We're not going to go into great lengthy depth or anything. But I bought a Toyota Tacoma. I wanted a truck, and I didn't want a 4-wheel drive. I don't think it was that I didn't want a 4-wheel drive. I think it was that I couldn't afford a 4-wheel drive back in the day. So I bought a pre-runner with a locker on it. And I lived in Ohio. We had a winter climate, snow and ice and all that stuff in the wintertime. So I thought the locker would be sufficient. And what the locker did was you could lock the rear wheels, if you will, and they would both spin, kind of like posi traction. So I had the first snowstorm, and of course I'm going to engage that because that's why I got it that way, right? Well, it was useless. With both the back wheels spinning and no weight in the bed, that was my biggest mistake. It just did this. It just kind of shimmied back and forth. It would not go straight. Not even on a level surface. It would not move. And part of the problem was, I think, the snow was so deep that it kind of got up like a wedge underneath the front tires. They could not overcome that wedge that was created, and the truck just sat there and spun. That drove me insane. It made me so mad that I actually traded the truck shortly thereafter, because I thought, you know, I wanted that truck as a winter kind of driver so that I didn't get stuck. I mean, that was the whole idea, right? Well, it didn't work out. I was very disgruntled with that truck. Man, I was mad back in the day. I remember, even today, I remember how mad I was that I had to get out, freeze to death, try to shovel or pull the snow out with no tools. I believe I used one of those snow scrapers, broke it because of course it got really cold, brittle, and then it just snapped as I was trying to pull the snow away. Oh, that was a bad deal. But anyway, I traded that truck off because of that. That was a bummer. Now, the second personal problem that I have with the Tacoma And again, it's been this way for a while, except for probably the first one that I had. I think maybe the first and the second ones that I had the bigger engines, the 4 liters, I think. So not so much a problem there, but recently, and that is the power that it does not have. It's very disappointing. I mean, you've got a truck that looks as hot, that's hot, as the Tacoma does, the best looking mid-sized truck on the road. And it lets you down as soon as you turn it on and get going. I've had a lot of people complain about that. Now, there are those who like it the way that it is, and that's fine. I always say to those folks, you're lucky that you like it the way that it is. You don't have to worry about screwing with the truck by doing anything to it to make it quicker because you're happy with it like it is, right? But me and many other people, because I get a lot of comments on the channel about this, we don't like it the way that it is. It's underpowered. Now, the sprint booster, as far as the throttle lag eliminator, certainly does help. It gets rid of the throttle lag. It makes the truck feel more responsive. But let's be honest, in the end, it doesn't make the truck quicker. It doesn't add horsepower. It doesn't do anything like that. It just makes it more fun to drive for what you have. It's too bad that Toyota doesn't give us a choice. It would be nice to have an engine that had a little bit more oomph to it. What if you could get like I don't know, even the old 4 liter, or maybe a 4.5 liter, something like that. I mean, that would be much better than what we have. And yeah, I know it would cost more money, but there'd be 2 versions. Instead of having the 4-cylinder and the 6-cylinder, why not have the 6-cylinder and the 6-cylinder? It'd be nice to have an 8, but let's be honest, they're never going to do that. And it would kind of be like the Tundra. For a while, previous generation, the Toyota Tundra had 2 versions of the 8-cylinder. They had, I think it was a 4.6, and then the 5.7 or whatever it was of the V8 motor. And there was a decent difference as far as pickup goes. I've had both. I had the smaller and the larger. And the only time I really noticed it is when I really wanted to get on the gas or the accelerator. Then you could certainly tell that it wasn't quite as powerful in the lower engine version as it was with the bigger. Other than that, it was pretty darn peppy, pretty quick. So it's too bad that Toyota doesn't do something like that. Maybe keep the 3.6 liter and then go with a 4 or 4.5 liter, something like that, 4.6. I mean, they have the motor, right? Or the engine, because it was in the Tundra. Why not put it in the Tacoma? Well, I'll tell you why not, because it got horrible gas mileage, almost as bad as its bigger brother. So they'll never do that. But man, I would love it if we had that option, and I'd be willing to pay more money for it. I mean, if they're going to get more for it, and granted, it has to be something significantly noticeable. I mean, I don't want it just on paper, and then when I get in and go to drive, I can't tell anything's going on. But it certainly would be cool to have, I think, if you had that choice. So anyway, those are my 3, 4, whatever it was, issues with the Toyota Tacoma. And I'll say again, if the Toyota Tacoma is so freaking awesome, then why do you need a new one? I don't think you do. And right now, you can't get anything any different than what you probably already have, unless you have a really, really late model Toyota Tacoma. Leave a comment. Let me know if you agree. Do you need to get a new Tacoma? Where's the one you have? Fine. We can wait. We can wait until the newest version comes out. I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. RobMotive MT, all about mini trucks or compact trucks. Currently the Hyundai Santa Cruz. And RobMotive JT, all about Jeep Gladiators. Right now, the Jeep Gladiator Mojave. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.